Hey, you hear that? The distinctive sound of skateboarders. I found some skateboarders, which makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of graffiti and just cool hip-hop shit going on in Ximending. But I hadn't seen anybody do actual skateboarding, but it's Saturday afternoon today. Another crazy hot day. I don't think I'll be out here for too long. But yeah, they set up little ramps and stuff and they're doing skateboard stuff. That's cool. And realistically, it's about the amount of skateboarding you'd expect to find even in a cool neighborhood of a cool city. Skateboarding's just not that popular. It had a moment in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Well, and I guess there was a period in the 80s too. But I feel like big time skateboard revival never really happened. But I always thought skateboarding was cool, even though I'm not good at it myself. I could never properly ollie. But it's just nice to see skateboarders. Yeah, I also noticed now that it's Saturday, the day after Party Time Friday, since it is so hot out, there's the occasional person just splayed out in a park, you know, clearly just kind of hung over and passed out from yesterday. Not a ton of people though, just a bit. But I heard it's kind of like that in some parts of South America too. Like, you know, the day after drinking night, there's people just passed out. And definitely nobody cares, nobody minds the rent here. There's even, I just passed a security guy over by the skateboarders. I saw a sign saying there was increased security because of recording. So there aren't those warning signs everywhere like South Korea, warning about recording people near bathrooms and stuff, but apparently it is still an issue. It's mentioned less here, but apparently it's still a thing. But anyway, that security guy, yeah, he didn't care about the skateboarders, he didn't care about the passed out guy. So that's kind of nice. It's just sort of a nice casual vibe. It's like the security doesn't seem like they're overbearing. You know, the opposite of that feeling in Shanghai in the airport. And last night as I was walking around, that's the most police presence I've ever seen. But again, it's just, they were just kind of standing around, just being a presence, but not seeming to mess with anybody. Because yeah, that park last night, the more I walked around, the more I started to notice, like, oh, there's actually a lot of prostitutes, kind of just all over the place. And also, that is where I first noticed, I guess there's like, I've noticed a little bit of homelessness around here, of just people, you know, on the street asking for coins and stuff, but really not a ton. Last night was the first thing I noticed that was, you know, like I'd call it an enclave. It was like a lot of people, a lot of homeless people sleeping in the park. But again, because it's so warm out, you know, it's like the earth is your blanket. Everybody, yeah, was just kind of just sort of laying in the park, and the police weren't bothered by them, just let them stay there. And I mean, this is going to sound flippant. Obviously being homeless is miserable and not fun. But it did feel a bit like I had walked into a weird sleepover, like a slumber party. Everybody was just hanging out. It really is a different situation when the weather is not going to murder you. Or if it is going to murder you, it's a different, slower dehydration death than, you know, Canada. It just doesn't work like this. You cannot be outside. Homelessness is just a different type of thing. So I don't know, I guess it's just kind of interesting that I'm slowly starting to notice this stuff, slowly starting to notice security, slowly starting to notice prostitutes, slowly starting to notice homeless people, slowly starting to notice skateboarders. Just everything is slowly coming into focus. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just keep trying to catch little moments if anything interesting happens. I've been out here walking around for a couple hours, just soaking in the neighborhood again, trying to build up my mental map. But yeah, it's real fucking hot, man. It's real fucking hot. Oh, here's a little something just on my way back to get out of this heat. Stopped in a Family Mart to buy some water. I'm not sure what the drinking water situation is. It's probably fine, but I really got into the habit on Jeju because they gave me a big 24 pack of bottled water. at the hotel, I just started drinking bottled water all the time. And it's like, yeah, maybe that's not a bad idea anyway. I'm used to drinking tap water back in Canada, but I don't know. I don't know what the situation is all around in different parts of the world. So anyway, stopped in Family Mart, buy a big 2-liter water, just get a whole bunch of other miscellaneous stuff. And I guess because I was walking around the outside edge of Jeju Island, I was very used to people not really speaking English. And I think that's a good assumption to have in general. You know, I don't want to be like entitled and expect anybody to speak English. But in Seoul and in Busan, you know, people did generally speak English. I guess in Jeju, because I was there for quite a while, I think my mindset kind of shifted without me really realizing that I was kind of in the mode of just presuming people don't speak English. Just assuming that if we're going to do a little transaction, it's going to be pantomime time, which is fine. I'm just buying stuff. It's easy enough. But yeah, I just had a little moment in the Family Mart that made me switch back. I felt the little flip in my brain. Because I had a big shopping cart full of stuff. Just I wondered, well, let me do my little thing. So this came to 351 Taiwanese dollars, which I was just donating my pennies away into donation boxes and stuff. But I've realized it's actually important to have a little pocket full of change. Like I was at McDonald's the other day and it was 302. So just to be able to give the 2 cents makes the change you get back way more reasonable. You know, you get back change in bills, not just as coins. In this case, it was 351. So just having that 1 penny meant I got back a 50-cent coin and not just a handful of coins. I mean, this is not new. This is the same as North American theory. We just haven't been cash-based for so long in North America. I never get change. I never pay for stuff with cash. It's like never. So I just kind of forgot about this world. But yeah, just being able to round off those little pennies here and there. But let's see, if it was 350, so if I think of that in pennies, so as 350, then multiply it by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Add on the 50 censors, so 13, 14. Add a little bit to that because it's not quite, it's always a little more than that. So I spent like, you know, 14.50 or something. And that's how I do math in real time. Lots of counting. But yeah, since I had all this stuff, the guy behind me was literally buying 1 drink. So I just said, oh, please, go ahead. And it was, I guess, kind of the perfect level of, because, you know, I've heard a lot about, you know, I had a friend who taught English in rural China for several years. And he told me all the stuff that, you know, I've heard many times, but like people don't line up, people just kind of crowd around to stuff. I mean, at the extreme level, sometimes it's like kids will just take poops in the street. You know, rural China, I've heard, is a bit lawless, where it's not at all like that. You know, again, everything in Taiwan is baseline Chinese. All the writing is in Chinese, the style is Chinese, the language is Chinese, but nobody acts in any way that I've heard of as like these stereotypically negative aspects to China. And of course, stereotypes are unfair and they're not true of everyone, but I am a firm believer that stereotypes also don't just come out of nowhere. I've never heard a stereotype that's not somewhat true. Like, come on. They're not just made up by bigoted racists. Instead, they're propagated and exaggerated by bigoted racists. But they originally came out of stuff that people actually noticed. That's what the deal is. What's the deal with cultural stereotypes? That's the deal. You know? Anyway, none of those stereotypes are at all apparent here, because this guy, everyone's been so nice and so polite. And yeah, this guy did the, oh no, please, you go ahead. And then I had to insist, no, look, I have too much stuff. You go. And then he did go. So that's where I feel like that's the perfect balance. He wasn't at all entitled, like just, you know, brusquely going ahead. He did the little song and dance of like, oh no, I couldn't. But he didn't do it too much. Because then if you refuse someone's offer more than once, then it's not polite anymore. Then it's annoying. if I had to keep saying, no, you go, suddenly it's not a fun thing anymore. Now it's fucking annoying. This guy, perfect. He turned it down once, I insisted, he went ahead. And yeah, again, that guy, it took him 1 second to buy that. it was just best all around. But that guy's English was tippity top spot on. Then I got to the guy running the store, and he had a stronger accent, but his English was still super good. Like this 2-liter bottle of water I bought. You know, there are little deals and little buy one, get one frees and various stuff going on in these stores, but it's all in Chinese. It's not easy to follow like it is in Korea. Where Korea, it's just a big number. 2 + 1 equals you buy 2, you get 1 free. 1 + 1 equals you buy 1, you get 1 free. I would have to actually pull out my phone and translate all these things. I just don't care. Like I don't need the deals. It's too much effort to figure out what's going on. Don't worry about it. But he told me, hey, this big bottle of water, this is a buy one, get one free if you want to go grab another one. So I was like, yes, all right. I'm going to need the water eventually. So yeah, I'll go grab another water. Thank you. And then, yeah, just the little ins and outs. Do you need a bag? No, I got this bag. Should I leave your ice cream bar outside of the bag? I was like, yeah, cool. I'll eat that right now. Anyway, as I left the store, that's when my little brain flipped. Where I was like, wait, that was 2 people directly back to back who both just super easily talked English to me. Like at a high enough degree of little fiddly stuff that we were talking about that it's like, yeah, they just spoke English. That's all. There's no question. So this is all circumstantial. It's all just random. Who knows? Maybe I could have just easily bumped into 2 people who didn't speak English. But it feels like that's the feeling in the air. I think it has been that way. I think I've been surrounded by people that more or less can speak English. It just hadn't clicked with me yet. It hadn't occurred to me. But it makes sense. I mean, I don't remember exactly how many people live in Taipei. I think just under 3 million though. So yeah, again, it's just Seoul is like 10 or 11 million. Busan is 3 or 4 million. Here is 2 or 3 million. Seguopo is 50,000, you know. It's just, of course it's different. How many was Jetchan now? I don't remember. Anyway, yet another pointless observation of limited value to anyone. In big cities, more people speak English. In small cities, less people do. But I suddenly became aware of this thing. Yet another thing that's just happening all around me that all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, that's how things are now. So that's kind of nice. And again, like I was saying, I'm not going to flip-flop to just expecting people to speak English. I feel like I should never expect anybody to speak English, but it's okay if I just have to do a pantomime. I mean, that's fine. Nothing. That's never really gone too poorly. If I'm just at a convenience store, it's not a big deal. But it is a different feeling. Like in Japan, I definitely felt like, there's a good chance no one's going to speak English. And then in Seoul and Busan, it was the opposite. It was a good chance someone would speak English, and I feel like I'm back there. The needle has swung back over to, I can probably assume that I can communicate with people, you know? I guess that's why it's important, to know this or to have this mindset, is because it will just make it a lot more comfortable for me to just go do stuff, you know? It will expand the sphere of influence. Obviously, I guess it's clear at this point, when I do travel, I have a narrow band. There are a limited number of things I actually do. But it gets even more limited, you know. Because, yeah, this is another weird thing where, you know, I was initially a little, apologetic that it's like, why am I not learning Japanese? I think Japan's so cool. Shouldn't I try to learn some Japanese? But there was something in me that was just like, yeah, but that's not really the path that is for you. And then I started to be a lot more comfortable with that when I got to Korea, where it's like, yeah, not only is it difficult to do, I actually kind of enjoy illiteracy. I'm just looking at some signs right now across the street from me. I don't know what they say, and I don't want to know. I don't like the media blast of just being able to read stuff, being able to listen in on every conversation. It's like overwhelming to me. I don't like it. I like being illiterate. And now that I'm here, not only that, but it's like, yeah, it's not just one language. It's not like I just put all my eggs in the Japan basket. If anything, this trip has taken a lot of pressure off of Japan, because now it's like, yeah, next time I'm in this part of the world, yeah, I'll go to Japan, and I'll go to Korea, and I'll go to Taiwan, and who knows what else I could add on to this. But now it's not just a language. Now it's like 3 languages. It's just not gonna fucking happen, man. It wasn't gonna happen anyway, and it is triple not gonna happen now. So anytime that English is around and people can speak it, that's a bonus. That is a beautiful gift that I appreciate. So I've started to notice and realize that that's how it is here, and I appreciate it. All right, this is kind of interesting. So I'm just in the old Airbnb and I heard the classical song Für Elise, it's called. I never would have guessed that. I didn't know. Even deep in my brain, I did not know the name of that song. Though apparently that is German for Elise. So there you go. But I was a little disappointed. I've never used this technology before, but I tried the little Google thing that, you hum a song. And I mean, come on, dude. If you don't know da 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 da, like it didn't know. I tried it multiple times. And I tried telling it it's a classical song. I don't think that works, but fuck right off. I think it's just giving me weird pop songs that use that same melody. Didn't fucking work anyway. So I just searched Taiwanese classical music fucking song instead. And it's garbage trucks, which I guess the other day, I guess it was last episode, when I did catch a bit of that, I do remember seeing a garbage truck in front of me, and I don't think I mentioned it. And it's the whole point of this podcast, just say what I see. But I think I didn't in that case because I just assumed, oh, it's probably not that. Why would it be that? But it is, and I learned some sort of interesting things. So supposedly the garbage problem was so bad in Taiwan, going back to, I don't know, before the 70s, I guess, like they called it Garbage Island. So they started a decades long garbage removal system that apparently works. Because, yeah, I've been talking about how super duper not garbage island it is around here. I was really impressed with how clean everything is. But yeah, I guess that's part of it. Somewhere in the 90s, 97, I think it said, part of the system is that the garbage trucks play this song. And the theories are maybe it was some government official that heard his daughter playing that song, or maybe just that the trucks came pre equipped with that being one of the songs. And I mean, that sounds like the most likely, like your Casio keyboard with the presets. And yeah, apparently some people complain that it's too loud. It is really loud. I hear it all the time. But I don't know, it's kind of cool, man. It's just let you know. I guess there's not like normal garbage pickup day, which is good because like that was a huge thing in Manhattan is there's just garbage on the street all the time. And it wasn't as bad in Toronto, but it was still bad. Like you could tell when you're walking through a neighborhood, you're walking down a specific part of Dundas or something, and it's like, oh, this is definitely, tomorrow morning must be garbage pickup night because today there's garbage fucking everywhere on the streets. And as far as I know, in Manhattan, garbage pickup is every day, but that means there's garbage on the streets every day. And it was a problem in general, but then apparently after COVID and stuff, like it became a real big problem. Like rats already secretly run New York, but they openly were taking over when all the people were inside. You can't leave garbage on the street. You fucking can't do it. It doesn't work. It's not a good system. And yeah, so that's the idea here in Taiwan. You don't leave your garbage out for the garbage man. You hear the jingle and you bring your garbage then and there. And if you don't, then you're hanging on to it. It's awesome. It makes sense, and it clearly works. And it's just, I don't know, it's a nice jingle. Apparently, there's stories of dopey foreigners like me who think it's an ice cream truck, but I don't know. That didn't even cross my mind. I can't remember the last time. Speaking of New York, I think that's the last time I remember ever hearing an ice cream truck jingle was like New York in 2000 fucking 9. I don't know if that is still a thing. But that's what it is here. For Elise. And it's garbage trucks. So nice. Mystery solved. Ah, a nice laundry day. I always enjoy laundry day. So it turns out there's a lot of laundromats near me, which is nice. A lot of options. And I was thinking back to the main place that was a problem was Jetjan. I couldn't find a single place in Jetjan that had a dryer. The place I was in had a washing machine at least, but I don't even think, just like no coin laundromats anywhere that I could find in that whole city. And I looked, there's gotta be one somewhere. But yeah, that's not a problem here. Tons and tons of options. And this one that I met is kind of weird because it has all the signage is white people. A happy white lady out front, a white dad with his two white kids here at the back, a little white girl just on her knees staring at the machines. I wonder if this is like, oh yeah, Dexter Laundry. So it's this one brand. So I guess these are all just the signs you can get from this company. Here's a mom with her kid. But yeah, they're all white people, which is kind of funny. And they're big, very prominent. But I couldn't help but notice. I thought maybe that's like, hey, tourist, come on in. Foreigner, we'll make it easy for you. But there's no English, like at all in here. And yeah, all the signs on the walls for how everything works, everything is in Chinese. Apparently you can use Line Pay to pay for your laundry. That's pretty cool. Yeah, not a stitch of English in here. And I realized that when, just waiting for my laundry, I was like, I'll go explore this little piece of the neighborhood. Found a Family Mart around the corner. I went there. Then I went to High Life, the Taiwanese chain. And it seems pretty good. It seems very comparable to all the other ones. But I noticed at both those places, like there is definitely less English on all the packaging than anywhere else. I started to notice that, I guess, like when I bought acetaminophen and vitamins the other day and nothing was in English. But yeah, it just made me realize like in Japan, most of the packages say something in English. And in Korea, I don't remember that being a huge problem either. I guess there's like a little bit, like I bought vintage style tea. And it does say, that I know it's vintage style tea because it says that, or brown sugar milk tea, original flavor craft. So this tea I bought at least has a little bit of English. But yeah, tons of stuff that has none at all. So I really did break out, I haven't been using Google Translate much. Today I really broke it out because I had to make sure I know how these machines work. Just to, make sure I got the, I guess the washer does at least say cold, warm, hot, delicate in English. It has a little bit of English. The dryer had none, so just to make sure I had it on high heat, I needed to pull out the thing. And it actually works pretty good. I just haven't been doing it. I just haven't been pulling out the phone and going through the whole rigmarole. But it seems like Chinese characters are quite easy for Google Translate to translate, so that's good. And I think I figured out what the, in Korea, it was buy two, get one free. It was the common thing. 2 + 1, it would say on stuff. Japan, I wouldn't say was really big on deals at convenience stores. You just kind of pay what you pay. I think I figured out what the Chinese deal is. That's why I have this second tea, why I got a vintage milk tea and a brown sugar milk tea. It's if you buy two, you get a certain amount of won off. So in this case, it was buy two of these teas, cartons of tea, that are pretty big. They were like 500 milliliter each, but get 10 won off. And then I saw something else. It was, what was it? Something or other that if I bought two, I got 50 won off. And that stuff, it kind of adds up quick because 10 won is really 40 cents. 50 won is really $2. So maybe I'll start looking into that a bit, but there is something to be said for just not taking the deal. Because I already drank a matcha at the Family Mart. Then I drank half a liter of old-fashioned style tea at the High Life. Now I've got another half a liter of this stuff that I think has milk in it. I don't think I should leave it in my crazy hot room. I think I need to drink it after I'm done at this laundromat. I was gonna buy a couple popsicles, but then it's like, yeah, geez, I barely really want one popsicle just because it's hot. I definitely don't need two. And then some of the stuff was, buy three. Maybe that's what the 50 off was, because 50 won off is kind of a lot. Anyway, the point I'm yammering about is there's something to be said for just not doing any of these deals, because then you just buy what you actually want. I always was buying handfuls of stuff in South Korea, way too much stuff, cramming myself full of stuff. And the very first time I took advantage of this system here, yeah, I'm looking at a tea that my belly does not need. The caffeine would be nice. Liquid certainly doesn't hurt. It's still hot as fuck. But yeah, I don't know. It's nice to be starting to figure it out. Figure out that this is an option. But yeah, I don't know that I need to be doing this. Getting 40 cents off stuff. Well, this is pretty cool. I went and dropped off my laundry and was like, all right, let's go walk around a bit more. I'm already a gross sweat machine, so let's head back out and sweat some more. Really is gross too. I just went to wipe like a little drop of water from an air conditioner. Fell on my phone. So I was like, oh, let me just dry that off. I wiped it on my shirt and suddenly the entire screen was wet. And I wiped somewhere else and it didn't help. And it's like, God, my whole shirt is just wet. That's fucking gross. But I saw, just to go a little farther than I have gone so far, I saw the Taipei Botanical Garden. And you never quite know what to expect with this type of stuff. Maybe it'll be something you gotta pay to get into. Maybe it'll be closed up. I got here at about 6:30 and it's open until 8 and it's pretty nice. Just a nice big plant park. There are a couple little parts that closed early. They close at 5. So I don't know what those are. But that could be a good excuse to come back here sometime. It is funny because I still don't know very much about Taiwan in general. And I've only been here like a week. But I was thinking, like, am I just going to stay in Taipei for the whole 90 days? Like, that would be unusual. I've never done that before. Traveling in Asia, I always go to a different part of the country I'm in. And I guess the only thing kind of leading me away from it was that I heard that the MRT card, the subway card, may be Taipei specific. Maybe it doesn't work in other parts of the country. But who cares? I literally haven't even used it. You know, I used it to come in from the airport and that's it. I'll use it a bit more when I'm not in the center anymore. But that shouldn't be any reason to stay here. But who knows? Either way could be good. Are those bats? Oh, that's pretty cool, because yeah, it's like nearly 7 o'clock now. I've never really seen a bat just clearly flying around like that. I've been like swooped by bats before at night in Vancouver. Go into some woods once the sun's down and whew, bats suddenly attack you. But yeah, those were just some bats, fairly small bats. I was like, what is that? Just like a big butterfly or something? No, that's a fucking bat. Cool. But yeah, if I keep heading south from here, there's the river that I only just went briefly to the Riverside to the west. But if I head to the south, there's a pretty big looking park next to the river. So if I make it there, check that out. It's a little hard to tell distances for me still, but I think Taipei seems pretty small. It didn't take me very long to walk here. I think this central part of New Taipei, wherever the fuck I am, by Ximending, doesn't seem that big. Yeah, here's another part, open until 5 o'clock. And it's just like pathways into the deeper jungle looking parts. I'll have to check that out for sure. The only problem is that necessitates coming out when it's fucking the middle of the day, when the sun really sucks. But hey, gotta do what I gotta do. Oh, is that a vending machine? Nice. I passed some vending machines on the way here, and there were 2 of them, and they both were sold out of water. And that's all I wanted, because I'm still working on this fucking giant carton of, the second carton of tea that I bought. This is a pretty good indicator that I should not care about the buy 2 get a deal stuff. It's just, who cares? Who gives a fuck? I'm thinking back to all the ice cream bars I've eaten since I got here. Did I ever want there to be a second one? I don't think so. I think one was plenty. You know, it was different. When I was walking around Jeju, because I was just walking in direct sunlight, had all of my popsicles in a cup. I don't need to. And same thing with this tea. It's good, but I am waterlogged. My belly is full. I do not need this fucking thing that I'm just trying to drink it. But yeah, both those machines were sold out of water. Makes me think in the summer here, they should just forget about selling other products, man. Just fill those machines with bottles of water and nothing else. I think you'd do all right for yourself. All right, what is this thing? What do we have here? All right, it claims to have water. Let's see. Oh, I think it's taking my money. 20, aka 80 cents. A bargain at twice the price. Yes, water. Oh, thank you. I'm still just sweating. Just endlessly sweating. And leaving the park, yeah. It's nice that it was open in general so I could cut through it, but definitely there's more to see in there. But yeah, one thing that was crossing my mind also, I was thinking about how I never paid attention. I mean, I barely paid attention to the weather in the first place, but it's like, I'll just check, the temperature or whatever. Even like humidity, just generally not especially relevant in Canada, so I just didn't really care. And then it was, a big shakeup in Seoul where I suddenly became aware of AQI, of the air quality index. And now that's a huge part of my life. Where it's funny how much I've adapted, where it tends to hover a little above or a little below 50 here. And it's funny because above 50 is technically bad. Like if you look on weather websites, it'll say the air quality is poor. But I've adapted to not thinking of that as poor. To me, under 60, 55 or something, like, yeah, I'll take it. It's not like I have any option in this part of the world. Just got to accept it. And that seems fully acceptable. It was only like in Seoul when it would go above 100, and that one time in Busan when it went above 200. Like, that's the crazy shit. With the AQI hovering around 50, maybe if you lived here, maybe that will have an effect over the course of your life. But for me visiting, I feel like it's all right. I don't need to wear a mask. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's a little surprising to see it listed as poor on the weather website because it's all relative, man. I'd actually call that great for this part of the world. 55 on the AQI, you kidding? That's like amazing. But that made me start looking around at the other entries on the weather websites that I never paid attention to. And one of them was about seasonal allergy stuff. That apparently right now the level of dust and dander or whatever it's called is like extreme. It was like, it is terrible out there. Do not go out there. You're going to get fucked. And I just thought about that because as I was walking here, I don't know, there was a point where a bunch of stuff just blew out of a tree. Just a bunch of fluffy, pollen-y, flowery looking stuff. And I was like, would that be it? Or is it just an invisible killer that's just everywhere? And it's so interesting when something doesn't affect you. Because I got plenty of problems. Like, I took my knee braces off, which are just, it's just two elastic band things. I got a small one and a bigger one. I put them both on my left knee and it makes my knee work normal and everything's fine. But I took those off just to wash them. And I had to put them back on before I left the house because even just going to the laundromat and walking around the block a few times didn't feel good. I do not like not having my knee brace. But if you don't have a problem with your knee, you'd never think about that. It's kind of similar with allergies. I've heard of allergies, I'm aware of them, but I've never really known anybody, I don't think, that is especially affected by allergies. And it just never crosses my mind. I never think twice about it. I'm not really aware about what time of year things are worse, or it's all so conceptual to me. It's like, would I be getting fucked over right now or not? I don't know what causes allergies to flare up. I just have no real conception of it at all. And I don't know, I just think that's kind of interesting. We've all got our crosses to bear. But if you don't have something, it's so easy to just have no sense of it at all. Like, I just literally never think about it. And I've never thought about it, like in the sense that I've never really like sat down and really thought about what the life of a person with bad allergies is like. I mean, maybe that's natural. Why would I? What would be the point of that? I don't know. Pointless empathy? What am I going to do? I can't help their life. But I just think it's interesting to think about that, like to think about your blind spots. Because they really are blind, like until you have some reason to become aware of something or to really think about it, it's so easy to literally never think about it. Man, there are a lot of claw machine places in Taipei. Not as many as there are scooters. That seems like it's growing every day. Definitely 50%, easy. I'm sure that there's certain points where I've been walking around that it's been like 80% scooters. They're just everywhere. But yeah, surprising amount of claw machines, because that was very rare in South Korea. Sometimes you'd find them, but not too often. And really not mega common in Japan. But you know, there's neighborhoods where it would be a lot more prevalent. But I saw one across the street that made me start talking about this. And I just walked by another one as I was talking. I didn't know this was here. Like, it couldn't illustrate the point any more perfectly. I'm just walking at random. And that one that I saw, like as I'm getting out of the center, I'm not in the Ximending tourist zone anymore, and there's still claw machines everywhere. It's like this very common type. It's a yellow machine. I'm not even sure how much it costs to play one. Because yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big claw machine guy, and if I did win one of these things, what am I going to do with it? I saw my friend Brad win a cool water bottle. Was it Evangelion branded? It was some kind of water bottle that he won out of a machine. So I got secondhand. I got to see, like, wow, you won. What is this chick's name? She's like a pink-haired anime chick. I've seen her before. I don't remember her name. But it's a toy of her in a little bikini, but the bikini is clearly removable because on the actual toy, the top is not on. So they just put a piece of tape over her titties, over her big fat anime titties. How chaste. You know, I feel like claw machines is probably a good thing to do if you're like a junior high student or even high school maybe, and you just need to go somewhere on a date. You don't know what to do with yourself. This seems kind of fun. As just a solo traveling adult man. Yeah, it's probably, maybe it's not weird that I haven't done any claw machining. Anyway, this street layout is getting complicated. I'm not quite sure where I'm going anymore. But it looks like I'm getting near Youth Park. I should be able to get to Youth Park without too much trouble. And then the Huazhong Riverside Park right after that. And it is getting dark, but theoretically I can walk along that park, along the river, back toward my Airbnb. Doesn't seem like the worst plan, but I'm gonna put this recorder away because yeah, I don't know where the fuck I'm going right now. It's getting weird. It's pretty much dark now. I made it to the youth park, whatever the fuck it's called. I'm glad to report it's mostly old people. Yeah, it is literally called Youth Park. Some people, some nice middle-aged people of my approximate era, and then a bunch of old people. I haven't seen a single youth, which is fine with me. Yeah, this is really nice. And between those bats that I saw earlier, and there's a lot of trees around here that have vines hanging down from them. You know, just stuff that we don't have in Canada as much. Like I said, the West Coast has some bats. Maybe there's bats all over. I suppose I've heard stories of people having bats trapped in their house and stuff. But it's not something you see often. It just makes me think, I think I said this in Japan as well. I've probably said this many times, but it just makes me think of Sega Master System. since I had a Sega as a kid before I got a Nintendo. And Sega was less localized. They didn't try to Americanize the games nearly as much. They didn't have the budget, I don't think. So they just gave us games that were very Japanese feeling. And to this day, that's what I feel like when I'm in this kind of environment. It's like, oh man, I am inside an old Sega game. What the heck? It's cool, and man, it sure does feel better once the sun is down a little. Oh, doggy. It's so hot out. That is one thing. I mean, even though Taipei is very Japan feeling in many ways, I keep seeing more and more different stores too, different chains, Mr. Donut and stuff from Japan. But the one thing that only Japan has is drink machines everywhere. Like, I'm really lucky I found that drink machine earlier got a bottle of water out of it, because I haven't seen another one since. And yeah, if this was Japan, I would probably be able to see like 3 different drink machines just from right here, just being at a random point in a park, you know? I mean, it's weird. It's very strange how many drink machines there are in Japan. But it's goddamn handy, man. You just can't deny how super handy it is. Man, I just passed a little washroom that had just a nice little outside sink thing. It's like, I should go wash my hands. And I just caught a look at myself in the mirror, and yeah, I'm just covered in a sheen of sweat. My forehead, my face is all just perspiring. And it's like, yeah, what are you doing here, little Canadian motherfucker? What are you doing here? Like, my theory of Canadian life is if you're sweating at all, if a single drop of sweat appears on your body, then it's too hot. Like in the wintertime, I barely turn on the heat in my house, you know? I like it to just be cold. That really is like, that's just my standard metric. If you're turning on enough heat to make yourself sweat, you're doing it wrong. That's too hot. But yeah, then around these parts, again, I mean, Canada has very hot summers, you know. The planet is quite tilted. It gets real hot up there. But it really just doesn't feel the same, and it is for less time. Like, this doesn't feel like something that would happen in Canada, the walking around at night, and it's just not colder. You're still just sweating to death. How fucking weird. I guess, too, since a lot of this podcast has been about washrooms, so Japan is tippity top for washrooms. There's public washrooms all over the place. It's delightful. The only downsides are occasional squat toilets, and for whatever reason, you can assume there's not going to be hand soap. Hand soap is a rarity. It's a nice treat. Lots of times there's just no hand soap. It's a little odd. I don't really know why it is that way. It doesn't seem to really gel with the rest of what's going on in Japan, but that's how it is. Where South Korea, the public washrooms are a lot more rare, but still pretty good. You know, there were some times walking around Jeju where I was like, this is a pretty long stretch. I don't care for this. This is getting a little dangerous feeling. I mean, there's always a coffee shop or something you could stop in, though. There's lots of cafes. But public washrooms, definitely borderline, you know? There's enough, but I would certainly enjoy more. However, they're always really well stocked. It's the reverse of Japan in the sense that it's very rare for there to not be hand soap. That's the unusual occurrence. And I guess what I've noticed so far in Taipei is that the buses beep incessantly all the time, way too much. But yeah, the washrooms are not super prevalent. I guess I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been an issue yet, since I'm the king of needing to pee all the time. Maybe it's just that I've just been staying in this one little neighborhood, though, and I kind of know where stuff is. There's an okay amount of public washrooms, but it's less, again, than South Korea. But whenever I do find them, they seem to be pretty well stocked. Good old hand soap is available. And I was a little concerned, I guess, because the very first washroom I went in at the mall by Main Station had 2 squat toilets. And I was like, uh-oh. And yeah, squat toilets have stayed pretty prevalent, but there's usually both. Usually they have a Western style toilet as well. So yeah, I guess I can't give any gold stars. No extra check marks, no A+ on any front, but everything's just okay. There's not a ton of washrooms, but there's just enough. There's not a ton of Western style toilets, but there's just enough. Everything seems to be just enough. So I can't complain. But yeah, in the washroom Olympics, despite the hand soap situation, Japan is still top of the class. The world's #1, as far as I've experienced. And like by double, not by a little, by a fucking lot. Japan is still the only country where I feel like you can just go walking. Particularly in a city, but even in the ruralish areas, you can probably just pick a direction and just walk. And you'll find a machine to buy some drinks from. And then when you're ready to pee those out 40 minutes later, there's probably a washroom somewhere. It's fucking... it's weird to describe bathrooms this way, but it's charming. It charmed the shit out of me. All right, I'm circling up around the youth park. There seems to be, oh yeah, of course, there's like the big highway that goes around the city, which is, yeah, still kind of weird. I don't quite know what that's about. That there's this big wall so that you can never see the view. You can never see the river. You can never see outside of this new Taipei area. I mean, maybe it's for floods or something? But yeah, presumably I'll have to get across that highway again, and then I can get to the Riverside Park. Yeah, I was actually thinking also just some of, once you get out of that central Ximending area, because it is super touristy, once you get out to the more suburban parts, there's still, like, again, it's the Chinese, like it's the general sort of Chinese architecture, Chinese city layout, Chinese style buildings. And I was at a particularly dense part with just like a lot of signage and stuff. And it suddenly made me think of the Kowloon walled city, which is long gone. But it was this area where, if I remember right, it was in Hong Kong. It was this area that was like the size of a couple football fields that was owned by, like, I don't remember which one was which. The surrounding city was owned by one nation, and the Kowloon walled city was owned by another. Basically, once you were in there, you couldn't leave because you didn't have the proper paperwork and stuff to live outside of there. It was this little enclave. And it was like super dense and super crazy, and just like hallways packed on top of hallways, packed on top of hallways. And it's one of these things that it's like kind of neat, kind of lives in infamy, but the reality of living there sounded terrible, like tons of drug problems and weird violence and just air problems, just air circulation problems, if nothing else. So obviously whatever I'm seeing around here is not actually like that. It's not actually to that level of density, even remotely. But that's what it made me think of, just whatever video does survive of that place, of the Kowloon walled city, or just pictures and stuff. I felt like I got like a little taste of it, where it's like, oh yeah, if you took this and you made it twice as dense and half as wide, and then stacked another one of these on top of it, and then another one on top of that, maybe that's what it would be like. Yeah, here's the wall. Here's the big ass wall. So yeah, I gotta cross over. Luckily there's a nice little traffic light here and an opening. But yeah, it's just as distinct here as it is over by my Airbnb. Yeah, there is just a huge fucking wall all around this whole place. Man, this is quite weird. I mean, I guess I got a taste of this the other day when I came over the wall and I got to be by the river for a bit, but it was the middle of the day. It was super hot. I didn't stay over here that long. Now that it's nighttime, so yeah, as soon as I got through the wall, through the opening in the wall, I didn't have to go up over a steep set of stairs this time. There was just a nice opening. I was met with a couple of drink machines, so that's nice. I still got my bottle of water, but I bought a can of Coke. Why not? Just to fuel me on home. But yeah, this park over here, it's pretty big. And just nice and pretty and open. Nice park. And you can just see out across the river. And I can just see all these buildings on the other side of the river, all lit up. It's like a big, crazy looking hotel. It might even be a casino or something. It's real big. But just a bunch of buildings. It's real nice, real pretty. And just that feeling of openness, just the openness of the river, the open air and the open park. And it's so strange. It's like, why? Maybe, like I was saying, maybe it's a flood thing, but maybe I wonder if it could just be that they just built this thing, this expressway around the outside edge a long time ago and now they're stuck with it. Because I heard that's a situation in Manhattan. I mean, I could complain about Manhattan until the day I die. I don't understand why anybody likes that place, to be frank about it. It's like the Kowloon walled city of fucking America. It's like if you want to recreate Manhattan, all you have to do is constrain yourself onto a small island and just build way too much shit there and make everything fucked up and miserable, and you could have another one. It's not a magical place, it's a mistake. It's fucked up. But part of the mistake is that they built this big highway around the outside edge that makes the waterfront inaccessible. But it's too late because they did it a long time ago. So maybe that's the case here too. Maybe they just did this a long time ago and now they're like, oh, dang. But it's weird when you're in there because, yeah, like, you would normally at least get to experience some of this view from different vantage points, you know, even if it is just between some buildings or whatever, from the distance. I'm thinking of like in Busan, when even before you get to the beaches, you can always see them coming, you know, you can see them in the distance and, oh, between these buildings, I can see the water. That never happens here. You can never, ever see this view until you're on the other side of the expressway. But I guess the benefit is that now this is like a different world. It is so calm over here. And I didn't notice any cyclists really in Taipei. I mean, essentially zero. I can't think of any, which makes sense. I don't think I would want to ride a bicycle in there. You know, there's already 1 million scooters. They seem to be doing okay with the traffic, but if you were a bicycle, you know, you're a lot less resilient. You'd be the third class, you know, below the cars and below the scooter. It would just be dangerous, probably very uncomfortable. So yeah, nobody bicycles in there. I don't know, maybe it's illegal, or maybe they just don't want to do it. But then over here, once you get to this park, tons of bicycles, tons of them, like mountains of them. Easily 500 people have passed me on bicycles in the last half an hour. You know, they're just constantly going by. So that's, I guess, what happens if you have a bicycle in Taipei and you're going to do bike travel. This is how you do it. You come to the other side of the wall and you bicycle on these bike paths, these dedicated bike paths along the river. So yeah, it's super nice, man, super nice. And there's some mostly joggers, some other just people walking like me, but mainly joggers and cyclists. And yeah, it's really nice, it's really pretty. So it's like, yeah, confusing. I'm not quite sure. But again, speaking of the old Kowloon walled city, I mean, I think that helps add to why I felt that way, why I had that sort of visual in my brain, is because I have been inside the wall for like a week. You know, I only went outside the wall that one time, and then now. You really do have to deliberately come to the side of the river. But the cool thing is, when you come to the side of the river, there is stuff here, you know, it's all set up. There's a nice jogging path, there's a nice bicycle path, there's lights everywhere. It's not like if you go to the Tama or the Arakawa in Japan, you really cannot get anywhere near the side of the river. Walking along the river is not something that you can do. Here you definitely can. Yeah, it's nice, man. It is nice. It is real pretty. Man, this is kind of nice as I'm walking one of the bridges in the distance that I guess was one of the ones I saw last time I was on this side of the wall. But it's all lit up at night. It's all lit up with red lights. Looks fucking pretty. Coming here at night was a good call, not just to avoid the heat, but it's fucking pretty. And also I instead of just listening to podcasts as I walk around, I was like, oh, I should listen to music. And I'm just walking along, because not only is it just bicycles over here, like the part I was at had some scooter activity the other day out here. I don't know where the scooters are, but they're nowhere near here. Just bicycles. And it's split off now that I'm on a separate walking path beyond even just the bicycle path. So I'm totally just on a nice little pedestrian route. And I think it's not coincidence that this is the first time I've thought to myself, oh, I should listen to some music. Like, it didn't occur to me till I'd been listening to music for 10 minutes. Oh, some keys. Somebody dropped their keys. 1, 2, 3, 4 different keys, and they're a little rusty. It looks like they've been here a while. Well, I guess all I can do is leave them there. They're obviously at least in a pretty prominent spot if I noticed them. They look rusty enough that I think whoever lost those keys never found them. That sucks. But yeah, I was listening to music for a while, and then it occurred to me, like, oh yeah, it's probably not coincidence that that thought never crossed my mind. Because in the city proper, I would not dare, you know? Having a little podcast playing at a low volume, that's not so bad. You can still hear all the sounds of the town around you. Music really does block things out. And I just would be so uncomfortable doing that in there with all that traffic and all those scooters and everybody constantly wanting to squeeze their way around a corner even though there's a walk sign on. I think I said that right when I got to Taipei, is if I'm ever going to get hit by traffic on my travels, this is where it's going to fucking happen. Like, I just feel like I need to be very alert when I'm in there. But yeah, here, fuck. This is great. The cyclists would literally need to drive across a patch of grass over a little tiny stream and then run into me. And even if they did, they're just on a bicycle. I'd be fine. This is the kind of fucking environment for listening to music while you walk. It's very nice. However, at one point, I saw a little snake snaking its way across the path. And I was just like, oh, look at that, a snake. And it snaked over to where the cyclists were. And they stopped to let the snake go, but they didn't just stop. They were like, ah, wah, a snake. And that's when I started thinking, like, am I underreacting? Again, man, fucking, it's just Canada. I don't know. Canada's cold. Things are dangerous, but they're dangerous in the sense of like a moose that will gore you. There's not poisonous creatures. They can't survive in that climate. We have snakes, but the snakes aren't dangerous. Used to just catch snakes when we were kids and stuff. So it made me think, like, oh shit, was that snake like a poison snake? You know? I mean, I still got my big ass fucking work boots that I bought in Seoul. I'm still wearing long pants. I'm wearing long socks. I had one pair of ankle socks and I fucking finally threw them away. Those shitty socks. I don't think I'm in a lot of danger from a snake. It wasn't a very big snake. But it didn't even occur to me to be concerned. I was just like, oh, cool, a snake. And I mean, maybe I was right. Maybe that guy's reaction is just like the dude I saw in Jeju who had a way over the top, super comical reaction to seeing dolphins. You know, maybe that's just the way. Maybe just being super expressive is just the way. But I don't really know. And it's just kind of funny when you just don't know. So you just don't react. It's just like, oh, cool. I remember the first time I ever saw a bed bug in my life was only a few years ago. One of my mom's old tenants, unfortunately, dumpster dove for a dresser or something, and it had bed bugs. But yeah, the first time I saw a bed bug, it was just, I remember it was on my coat. And I just thought it was like a, whatever, random little bug, some kind of bug that got in the house. It's just like, oh, hey, what are you, buddy? Flicked it away. And then I later learned, very painfully, that was a bed bug. But it's like, it's weird. It's like if you don't know, I guess it's dangerous not to know. Because then maybe, your life will be negatively affected by these things. But it's funny that if you don't know, you're also cool as a cucumber because you don't know. You're just like, oh, hey, man. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, you evil thing? I don't even know what you are. Man, it's a weird feeling to walk through the dark and like it's fully dark and then it's, fully dark. I guess it doesn't get darker once it's fully dark, but it just remains dark and I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm still just like, my forehead is covered in sweat and my shirt is still just totally damp. It's like, yeah, it is not going to cool down, man. The night means nothing. I mean, yeah, it means a little. It's obviously cooler now than it is in the day, but it's still a wild level of warmth. Yeah, and I've walked under a couple of very major bridges now, like great big motherfuckers of bridges. And there was one point where the park briefly narrowed enough that I was alongside scooters again, but only for a bit. They're mostly off on their own. But I thought I'd mention the dog and cat situation, because that was one of the first things I noticed in Seoul. There were enough cats that I looked it up, and yeah, apparently they have a big problem with homeless cats. And then homeless dogs, I saw dogs on the mountain, and I thought they were just somebody's dog, till I saw enough of them that I realized, like, nah, these dogs live on the mountains near Seoul. So a lot of homeless animals in South Korea. And then in Jeju, even barely contained horses. I did notice, though, right as I was leaving, the horses weren't as free as I thought. A lot of times it was just the geography keeping the horses in. But if there wasn't enough to pen them in, the horses were tied to stakes, to poles. It was just hard to notice at first. It seemed like it was just a horse, just living his horse life. But if you look closer, it's like, oh, that one actually is tied up. Because it just seems so bananas to just have horses just wandering around. So it's not entirely that way. But in Taipei, I've seen very little cats, really only one cat. The building I'm in has a cat. And luckily, the very first thing that happened when I met the guy who runs the bar downstairs is I opened the door and let his cat out. I was like, oh, fuck. But he said, like, don't worry about it. It's fine if that cat goes out. So yeah, the cat just wanders around the house or wanders out in the neighborhood, wanders wherever it wants. But that's the only cat I've seen. I haven't really seen any outdoor cats. But I have seen a fair number of dogs, and I can only remember seeing one dog ever that was on a leash. I must have seen more than one, but very rare. The vast majority of dogs are just walking around, but they always seem affiliated, It's like, oh, well, clearly that dog's with this person and that dog's with this person. So they don't really use leashes, but they do keep track of, who owns dogs. They're not just homeless dogs. And why this came to mind here is walking around this park, I saw some dogs that I'm like, I don't see who those dogs are affiliated with. But then just beyond that was a dog park with some people who had a dog that they were watching in the dog park. So I was like, okay, maybe that was just, I don't quite know what was going on with that other dog, but not enough for a pattern. But then a pattern really quickly emerged. Suddenly I started seeing a lot of dogs just wandering around this park. Definitely unaffiliated, just dogs. But then I realized those big bridges I walked under, maybe those dogs were affiliated with people just in a more loose way. Because the old traditional, the homeless enclaves underneath bridges. I'm sure it's a phenomenon as old as the bridge itself. And especially in this kind of warm weather. I mean, we definitely have homeless people that live under the bridge in Canada, time of year permitting. Around here, yeah, you could just live under the bridge forever. And they do. There was like a couple of quite big, pretty prominent groups of people living under the bridge. So that explained that. It's like, oh, so there are dogs wandering around that are just doing their own dog thing, but they are probably, part of that community. So I guess that's what I've noticed about animals so far. Very few cats, whatever cats there are, do seem to be tied to a household or indoor cats. A fair number of dogs, but the dogs are always with somebody despite not being on a leash. And yeah, even these way more evidently homeless dogs, I mean, they are homeless dogs, but they're homeless dogs who are homeless alongside homeless people. So that's the animal situation as I've noticed it so far in Taipei. Oh, which actually, that makes me realize some cyclists just went by. At this point, who can even guess how many cyclists have gone past me? I mean, 2,000? Easy. It's just constant cycles going by. I was mentioning before how I was like a little impressed that all the scooter drivers all wear helmets. Because in Canada, it takes a little time, I guess, for rules to stick in. Like I was talking about helmets with cyclists. When I was a kid, it wasn't a law necessarily. Then it became a law, and then it took a few years for everybody to get into shape. But now everybody wears helmets. And that's kind of how it is in general in Canada. It's like, you gotta wear a helmet, so everybody wears a helmet. You gotta wear your seatbelt, everybody wears a seatbelt. You gotta pick up your dog's poop, everybody picks up their dog's poop. Like, people are quite diligent about following the law in Canada. So it's always interesting to see where things are a little looser, like even just seeing people walking around without their dog on a leash here. That just doesn't happen in Canada. It's so much so that people are like paranoid about it in Canada. Because when I was back home, I lived by Odell Park in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and it's a pretty big park, but you're supposed to have your dog on a leash even inside the park, which I feel like that's a little excessive. And I certainly don't care, and I walked through that park literally every day. And whenever people would stumble upon me, we'd be in some back trail of the park, just me and them, and they'd always be so, apologetic that their dog wasn't on a leash, and they'd go rush to put it on a leash and apologize. And I always just had to say, yeah, it's okay, I really don't mind, it's fine. But I guess it doesn't matter if I don't mind, because obviously other people do mind, and maybe, other people would call the cops and report it or whatever. But that's how much, the rules get followed in Canada. If you don't follow them, people are real nervous about it. So yeah, that just made me realize all of a sudden, oh yeah, all of the scooter drivers are wearing helmets, but what about these cyclists? I wasn't really paying attention. And those 3 cyclists that went by me just as I was saying that, none of them were wearing helmets. But now I've been watching as people go by, and it's way less than half. Maybe a third of people are wearing helmets. But at first, when it first occurred to me, I was like, is nobody wearing a helmet? Maybe all the scooter drivers do, but maybe the cyclists don't. But it looks like some of the cyclists do. But yeah, it's just that laxness, it sort of reminds me of, this guy going by does not have a helmet. It sort of reminds me of the 80s. It reminds me of growing up in North America, where it's yeah, maybe you wear your seatbelt, maybe you don't. Maybe you drink and drive, maybe you don't. Maybe you put your dog on a leash, maybe you don't. In the 80s, you definitely didn't pick up your dog's poop. It wasn't even a question. You definitely left it. You definitely didn't wear a bike helmet. It does feel a bit throwback of just everything's a lot looser. But not necessarily for the best. This girl who went by, she's also not wearing a helmet. I just think you should wear a helmet, But I guess compared to a scooter, obviously a normal bicycle is a lot safer. If you're going to pick one or the other, at least the scooters, speaking of, I think I'm coming back to my neighborhood now, because this looks very familiar. This looks like where I was before, where the scooter trail, where the scooter road is right next to the walking road. But yeah, if you're going to pick one or the other, definitely wear a helmet on a scooter. But you should wear a helmet on your bike too, I think. Oh yeah, totally. I am back. I've done the loop. Yeah, this is so interesting though, because there's so many cyclists tonight. I didn't see a single. When I was here before, Now that I think about it, yeah, somebody did go by on a bicycle. It was like an adult, like a teacher with like 4 or 5 students. So I do remember I saw some people on bicycles, but it was like that was it. As opposed to the hundreds and hundreds that have gone by me tonight. And it has to just have been because it was the middle of the day. It was hot and miserable. Like, yeah, I think this evening time, this is the time, man. This is the time to do everything. Time to go for a walk, time to go for a bike ride, time to do anything. The middle of the day, fuck that. Yeah, I mean, it's cool because I'm already here in this part of the world. It's like, hey, cool, I get to come to Taipei in the middle of the summer and it's hot as fuck. But yeah, this would be the weirdest shit to come here deliberately for your vacation. Spend a bunch of money to circle the globe, come here for a week or two and just die. Just have the worst time in the world. And I assume it's probably similar for South Korea and similar for Japan, similar for everywhere. What a fucked up time of year. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just once again repeating myself at this point. I had heard about the horrifying summer, the heat and the humidity, and I was like, I don't know if it's really that bad. I walked around Jeju Island. I think it's not that bad. And it's like, nope. It turns out I made it around Jeju Island just in time. Just in time, because there's another level. There's levels to this shit. And once it goes up to the next level, yeah, this is truly inhuman levels of insane, never-ending heat. There we go. Yeah, I'm back in my hood. This is where I was last time when I crossed through another opening in the wall. Heading back through the wall, heading back to the inner city, heading back to my Airbnb, and that motherfucking air conditioner is turning on. I left $200 bills on my table. And I was back dropping off my laundry to make sure I don't spend them. Those two are going to the air conditioner fund. Just to make sure. Geez, actually it's late enough when I get back. The bar downstairs might be open. Maybe I'll just go pay him right now. Just be like, hey man, here's more air conditioner money. Because I was a fool. I was a total fucking fool to think that I could game this system at all. There's no gaming this system. There's life and there's death. I choose life. The air conditioner is life. Whew. But anyway, this is a nice little extra Taipei discovery. The outside of the wall, the bicycle zone. Very nice at night. Probably not so nice in the day. Because you would melt. Man, I was just walking back into the city, and even though it's the same gate that I went through before, I sort of know where I am, but I don't exactly know, and it looks different at night. So I was just wandering along, stopped in a 7-Eleven, got some stuff, and then I found like a foot market that I never noticed before. And I was walking through that, like one of the ones that's like a corridor, you know, it's got a ceiling over top. But then I passed through that and I was just in a street somewhere. I was like, I don't know where the heck I am, but it was like, there was a big boa constrictor in a tank, maybe for sale at some place. But then there was a lot of the stalls were selling way more traditional type food, you know, like it made me realize I have been kind of in tourist zone. Because all of a sudden there's like deep fried chicken feet and pig hooves and just tons of weird seafood stuff. And there were definitely some companionship ladies walking around. I had to, whenever they tried to talk to me, it's just like, oh, I got my headphones in. Oh, I'm looking at this thing over here. Oh, I didn't notice you. I don't know. I don't want anyone to feel awkward, so I just pretend I didn't see them as I walk by. Because I must stay firmly in nerd world. That is the world in which I fucking dwell. But then as I was walking along, there was a fire. Just like a fire in a fucking drum at the end of the street. Just blazing away. And it's like, man, this is just fucking cool as fuck. I guess this makes me think a bit of the video game Sleeping Dogs. That was set in Hong Kong. I love that game. And it didn't occur to me till now that it's like, oh yeah, this actually does feel like that. Kind of, you know? If there's any video game that it reminds me of, that's the one. But anyway, the main thing is that because I was just talking about dogs and cats, as I got to the end of this zone and it kind of just like emptied out into a normal residential quieter street, I saw a cat. I just saw a cat sleeping on a grate, just chilling. Seemed to be just fine, seemed to be having an all right night. But yeah, it is super duper rare for me to see cats around. So just the fact that I was just talking about it and how the only cat I'd ever seen was at my Airbnb. I have to mention that. Another cat, man, I just saw another cat. All right, I gotta figure out where the fuck I am. I'm gonna see if I can get home without my map. Surely I can figure this out. Thanks for listening. Join me next time for more Taiwan adventures. Adios.